All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Saturday show. And I'll be your host, Brent Thomas, right here on the Paranormal Portal. Hopefully you guys are doing good. I think I remembered everything. I think I did. I don't know. Sometimes I forget stuff, but I think I got all the lights on. I think I got everything in order. So I think we're good. So hopefully you guys are doing good too. I don't know. How'd your day go? How's your day? Did you have a good day? It's Saturday. Thanks again, everybody, for coming in and hanging out with me. Those of you that are here and those of you that will be here as soon as you can be. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys. So it's just a fine evening here in the portal. And I'm just excited to bring you the best show I know how to bring you. So good to see everybody. The chat's just flying. Congratulations. Already 100 chat messages. I mean, we just literally minute into the show. But you guys are cruising, and special thanks for that, everybody. Wow. Way to hit the ground running here in the portal. I need a hug kind of day. Well, I'm sending you a big hug, Maggie. We love you, of course. I hope you're okay. Hi, Deborah Neighbors. I saw Deb Varner was in here. She was in prior to going live, but there's Deb Varner. How you doing? Chad Votaw, Maggie, Chucky Danger. Good to see you, brother. Rachel gets it right. Fred Flintstone, Yabba Dabba Doo is in here. Good to see you, Fred. And T-Bone hopped in the chat as well. Good to see you, T-Bone. Thanks for coming in. We got Dog Digger over on Rumble. Great to see you. Batman came in, and I'm just looking. Eric Fry is here. Wizard Moon, and the names just keep flying. Sinfully Wicked. How you doing? Good to see you, man. Good to see you all. Thank you. Annie Manul is here. That's cool. David Zeismer. How you doing, David? Good to see you. So what have I missed? It's been a while since I watched the show. Well, we're still doing the show, so I don't know. I'm not sure what you're looking for, but and that actually brings up a good point, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to lead off the show with this because, there's an old saying, never say never. And I was just commenting last night that, there's a segment on the show we just haven't had to use much because it just doesn't happen much. And then it happened. Ladies and gentlemen, plug your ears. It's about time for... It's time, ladies and gentlemen, comments from the cheap seats. Yes, indeed. We got a comment from the cheap seats just today, as a matter of fact, just hours ago, as a matter of fact. So I don't know. This one cracked me up, but it's like, this guy's got a real issue with some of my material, apparently. And it's not even really my material. It's just my imitation of it. But here you go from the cheap seats. Oops, wrong one. This one is first. And this is from Kasaber Hagen. That's it. I've had it with the Homer Simpson voice. Never coming back. It's like, what? I don't know. I mean, I know I do it from time to time, but it's not like I'm doing the whole show as Homer Simpson, for God's sakes. This person is a little sensitive, but I thought, well, I should probably respond. So I did. There's my response. This guy has some issues with Homer Simpson. I don't know. Maybe he hates the Simpsons. I don't know. I guess it's probably flattering because, I mean, but I figure, if somebody's going to go out of their way to leave a crappy message, then I'm going to do what I can to, the Homer voice is like burning sage to a troll. So I thought, what the hell? I mean, of all the things to be, angsty about, really a Homer Simpson voice? Well, if that's what drove you away, then God bless you. Love the Homer voice too. Thank you, Ruthie. honestly, these comments actually crack me up more than anything. It's not like I'm like, oh, that jerk. What do you mean you don't like my Homer impressions? But anyway. Yeah, they get owned over here, that's for sure. I mean, whatever. So anyway, that's the comment from the cheap seats. We haven't had one for a while. And then last night I was like, oh, we just don't have them, but here's the song, and this is what you'd see if we do. And then lo and behold, someone fulfilled the prophecy. So God bless you, Kasaber Hagen. I don't know how the hell to say your name, but I'm probably brutalizing that, but it's okay. Looks like you could use some brutalizing anyway. So there you have it. That's good. That's the comment from the cheap seats. So just when you thought it was safe to come into the cheap seats, there you go. All right. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I wonder if I can play that again. I can't seem to find it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. And the music will take us out. So I just said we didn't have any cheap seat comments, but then that happened. So I thought, God, that's kind of funny. No, it is possible this person went, hey, I'll give you a comment, cheap seat. So anyway, I thought that was humorous. So obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be doing the news here in moments. It is just me and all of you. You guys are my co-host tonight as well. It's been a full sweep of just me and you guys, but that's how I like it. We can be alone together. So maybe it's the troll that was paying in the live a few months back that was trying to insult you. Yeah, it could be. I like it when they come and they do super chats to try to rip on me. It's like, yeah, I can do that all day long. Just keep going. That's funny. Co-host, woo, woo till it got ick. Did it get ick? What happened? Oh, when I was just kidding, of course. I'm not really a flirty guy. I'm not very good at flirting, as you can tell. Anyway, let's get to the news. Mercury goes into, oh God, Mercury again? Why does Mercury always in retrograde? Can't that damn planet just do its thing without retrograding all the time? I hate Mercury retrograde. But I'll have you know, and this I think was Deb Varner's suggestion that I needed Tiger's Eye. And I've been carrying Tiger's Eye, and ever since then, the retrogrades just don't bug me anymore. So I've always got Tiger's Eye with me, always. And one of my bracelets is Tiger's Eye. This one right here that I'm moving, that has a bunch of Tiger's Eye on it. So that's one hot planet. I'll bet it is. I'm sure. But God, I mean, it's always in freaking retrograde. What the hell? I don't understand it. Anyway, let's get to the news, and then we'll move on to more fun and fantastic things tonight, including the Discord question of the week. So I hope you guys are ready, because I feel like it's about time to news you up. So are you ready to get newsed up? It's time for the news. Oh, thanks, Maggie. Yeah, I like these, man. I got several. All right, it is time for the news, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, and I'll do my best to keep you entertained and informed, and hopefully enjoy this segment as much as I enjoy bringing it to you. So, again, I say this at the lead-in of every show, but honestly, I mean it wholeheartedly. We use some amazing sites throughout the course of this show, since it's mostly a topic-oriented show where we discuss various articles and phenomena and such, and these sites are doing an incredible job. They are just so well operated, maintained, and I can only hope that you guys will support these sites. So please do so as you see me utilize different articles, bring up different articles. Please keep in mind the sites that they came from and give them your love when you can, when you're looking for paranormal stuff, because every one of these sites will have a lot to draw from and a lot to dig through. So let's get to it. First off is the first article of the night, and this is from an amazing site that we utilize quite a bit here, and this is unexplained-mysteries.com. Why is that so small? There we go. Had to expand the window a little bit because it was rather short. And unexplained-mysteries.com is just one of those sites that is so well done. It's very well maintained, and it's always current. And whoever this TK Randall is an absolute machine. I mean, they are just constantly churning out these articles. So God bless them. And please support this site. So unexplained-mysteries.com brings us the first article. Fast-moving stars could be piloted by intelligent aliens, study claims. Fast-moving stars. Where do you suppose you'd sit to drive that thing? It's a freaking ball of plasma fire. It's a nuclear reaction. Who the hell's going to be sitting in there driving? I don't know. I mean, that's just, I mean, good God, you couldn't even handle the gravimetric things going on there. But anyway, let's see what it says. Maybe they have some merit to such a bizarre claim. It says new research has identified distant fast-moving stars that could be under intelligent extraterrestrial control. That's quite an assumption. It's like, wow. Okay, we've heard of many different concepts for spacefaring vehicles over the years, but this latest one, which comes courtesy of Belgian philosopher Clement Vidal, is certainly one of the most unique. In a new paper, Vidal puts forth the idea that hypervelocity stars that move at extraordinary high speeds, might be under the control of intelligent alien civilizations. Still not tracking where he got to that point, but let's see what he says. On the face of it, the idea makes sense. Really? If it was possible to move the sun, for example, you would essentially have the ability to move the entire solar system to a new region of space. This might be desirable if, for example, you believe a nearby supernova explosion is imminent, or if you simply need to move to a more resource-rich part of the cosmos. Taking your star and your planets along for the ride means you are never really away from home. To get the star moving, Vidal proposes that an advanced alien civilization could eject material from its surface in a particular direction, thus producing thrust. I don't get this guy's logic at all. What's particularly interesting is that there are actual stars in the universe that seem to match the characteristics you would expect to see if they happen to be under intelligent control. Vidal also covers the possibility of binary star systems being used this way as well. His work adds to a growing body of potential technosignatures that astronomers could look for to point us in the direction of an advanced alien civilization somewhere out in space. Who knows? If there really is someone out there, sooner or later we might actually find them. I just don't see how that could be possible. And the reason that I think that, and I know it's like, well, what the hell could I know? And I don't know why, but it seems to me that everything in the universe is a projection of infinite gravity fields that is keeping everything in the position they're in or in the motion that they're in. And if somebody just decided to start driving a star or a binary star around, which would be two stars, wouldn't they be forever altering and shifting the gravitational equilibrium of the universe? And could that lead to cataclysmic and catastrophic events? Just, hey, we can drive a star, and you go and park it, and all of a sudden there's everything is thrown in disarray because there's a new gravity field that isn't where it should be, and the one where it was might cause things to fall apart there. I don't know. I think that has to be an important part of this, because I think that all of these celestial bodies, the billions or trillions of star systems that are in the Milky Way galaxy alone, they're in a state of equilibrium, because there are opposing gravitational forces and complementary gravitational forces, and and so forth. And if you just started driving one of those elements around, creating a moving gravitational field, that can't be good for the whole. I don't know. That's just what's coming to me intuitively, and I don't know how else to explain it. But it's like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And how the hell would you drive a star? I mean, it's not like you got a cockpit in there. And what could you rig on the surface of that could control all of the emissions except for one direction? I don't know. I mean, obviously, we're discussing or theorizing technologies that are super advanced to anything we could possibly imagine. So maybe it is possible, but I don't know. I'm a little bit perplexed by this. So you guys got to let me know if I'm sounding like an idiot here or what, but automatic or stick. Well played, Maggie. Well played. Yeah. I don't know. It's a damn clutch. You don't want to grind those gears. Supernova. I'm just saying it could be possible, but I don't know. I just don't think that, having having stars rolling around the galaxy can be good for the equilibrium of the whole. Anyway, more money, bigger trailer, 3-picture deal. These drive stars. Heather Caulfield says there's a plasma galactic highway. I call the Dragon's Highway. It goes right through the stars like capillaries. Huh. Well, there's probably something to that, Heather. I don't know. I'm not an astrophysicist or anything, or a theoretical physicist of any measure, but I just have to believe that equilibrium is important for things to stay in the order they're in. Otherwise, I can't help but believe that if you were just to drive a star around, you'd be really screwing everything up. But I don't know. I guess this guy gets paid to think about stuff like this, and I don't. And maybe there's a reason I don't. I don't know. I'm just an idiot with a microphone here, but I believe that I really, truly believe what I'm saying has merit, but I can't tell you why. I'm just telling you that's what came to me. So anyway, first article, interesting article, I think, right? It's not every day you hear about driving a star around, unless, happen to be in Hollywood or something, but they don't have much gravity. All right, let's get to the next article. I don't know, it's a weird one. I just don't think the math on that can add up. There's too many factors that are just driving us, a huge gravitational body around, and what would that do to the whole surrounding space? It's just gotta cause hell, I would think. Anyway, I don't know. I'm sure I'm stupid and don't have any clue what I'm talking about, but I can't help it. That's what came to my mind. So, all right, we're going to go to the next article because I got another article. So that's how we're going to do this. I get articles, I read articles, and here we go. Another one from unexplained-mystery.com. This one's coming from the UFO Phenomena Files, and it's got a video, I think. So let's check it out. Blue orb inadvertently filmed by news chopper over New York City. Oof, there's a red circle. Thank God for red circles, folks. I don't think we would have noticed all the paranormal activity that goes on around us if it weren't for the blessed red circles. Thank you, red circle. You make my life easy. The unidentified object quickly zoomed past the frame during filming of a news report over Manhattan. Sometimes UFOs can show up in the most unexpected of times, and this recent example, which was captured on camera high over the New York skyline, is one such case. Filmed from a news chopper, the object, a bluish sphere, seemed to come out of nowhere and quickly sped off to the side of the frame during a Fox 5 news report that aired on Monday. The clear weather made the object quite easy to see, although it remains unclear what it actually was. Its appearance wasn't mentioned on the report itself at the time, but was instead later picked up by other news outlets such as the New York Post, which featured the clip on its own YouTube channel. The path the object... Oh, I'm lagging. The path of the where the hell? The path... There we go. The path of the object saw it zoom over the Hudson River and past lower Manhattan. Some have speculated that it could have been some sort of drone, while others have suggested that it might have been something as trivial as a reflection of sunlight off a lens or glass panel. Others again maintain that it's evidence of something much more unusual. You can watch a clip for yourself below. What do you think the object is? Well, by God, we should check it out. This is from the New York Post YouTube channel. So let's see what this object is. I got the sound off. I guess, yeah, there we go. Oh, there it goes. All right, let's check it out again. Yeah, that's kind of unusual. We're zooming over the Hudson River in final seconds of the Fox Side News report. I don't think that's a moving reflection, though, right? Real world object or a light reflection. But Harvard physicist Avi Loeb told the Post most likely an optical artifact from the helicopter glass. Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about the windshield of the helicopter. Anomalous sort of. Good day. Opine though it's merely a drone. Okay. Last year, the Pentagon released radar footage of a eerily similar orb zooming through controlled airspace of an active military. This is really fast writing, so you can certainly check it out. I'll put the link to this, and you can read or watch this in its entirety. But I do want to re-see that, though, because I'm going to blow it up, actually, too. But why? That doesn't match the... It doesn't match, unless there's something behind or to the side that might be reflected off of the glass in front of them. But it does look like it comes from somewhere else. Like, it seems to start out tiny and then get bigger. I want to see that again. I don't know. Where does it start exactly? Right there. Okay, wait a second. I want to pause this. I want to get rid of this. I want to do some frame by frame here, if you don't mind. Okay, so it's actually right here on the screen. It's this little white dot right here where my mouse is. It's right on the tip there of that building or whatever. But let's keep going. Going backwards. Okay, now it's keeps going. It's like on the roof of that building. Now it's a little bit above it. Now it's blurred. Oh, they blurred it in. Why'd they blur it in? Why did they blur it in? All right, well, we can only see that it's right here right now on the screen in front of that dark part there. And then it goes kind of over. It appears to go over the roof of this thing and then come into frame and zoom like that. So, I don't know. Let's watch it in real time again. I guess we can go forward frame by frame here. And there it is. It's past the building. There's the beautiful red circle, making everything clear, but it is small. And as it moves in the direction of the helicopter, the point of perspective, it does get bigger. I'm just wondering. Well, it's hard to tell. I was looking for any light reflection that might be on the surface of the water, but I'm not seeing any. But interestingly enough, when it gets up to here, it's kind of translucent. So it could be something reflecting, but that would be like some aircraft seemingly coming pretty close to this news helicopter. Because there it is. It's quite a bit bigger now. So it has moved into field. It may not have been as far back. It may not have been as far back as all this, but it seems to appear somewhere in the sky between this point and the helicopter. So it may not have been as far back as this building, but it might have been somewhere in the mid-range, but the perspective makes it look like, you know, it was way back here, even though it was probably much, much closer when it actually happened. But there it is, and it is kind of bluish. I'm just looking. I don't know. It's a very peculiar thing, but it doesn't, definitely, I don't believe orb, because there's no substance to it really. It's just like a light discoloration, but it's, I don't know. I'm not so sure that it's just a reflection, and I'm not saying it couldn't be, but I don't know. You guys be the judge, I guess. That's the best I can say, but that's very interesting. There we go. I think it's interesting. It could be some sort of out of phase object. It could be a light reflection, I suppose, but if that was the reflection of something, that would be off camera over to this side, like over, kind of over your right shoulder as you're watching the screen. And that would mean something was coming pretty close to this news helicopter, which I don't think is encouraged as far as air traffic is concerned. But I don't know. I can't, there's no way to draw conclusions here, but it is very curious and looks like it might be something. So again, I'll put the link to this article in the chats. If anybody wants to check it out further, please feel free. I don't know. What do you think? Is it a UFO or just some trick of the light? What do you guys think? Anybody got an opinion? I'd love to hear your opinion. And there we go. All right. So it's in the chats. How about reflection on the camera lens? No, because there's really nothing with a moving light. Usually to get lens flares like that, you need a light to be shining in proximity to the lens. Usually you can see it in the frame. Like for instance, here's my mouse. If the sun were right here, I'm circling in the sky, then you may get a light anomaly over here because the lens is curved. There's a curvature to the lens, so it does create, as the light. God, let me do this. I'll try to do this. Let's say this is the lens and it's curved like this. If the light hits here, it's going to be directed into the aperture of the camera. This would be flat underneath, but some of the light would be reflected over to this side of the lens and then reflected into the camera sensor aperture. And so that's where these lens flares happen from lenses, but it's usually a light source that you can see, or a reflection of light off of a shiny object that you can see on one side that then hits the lens. Part of the light is directed into the aperture. The other part is directed over to the other side of the lens at like a cross section. And then that hits the lens, and some of that light reflects back. Some of it continues out of the lens. It's just a refraction of light. So that's what generally lens flares are. Now they can, sometimes that light can be just out of scene. Like if this was the sun and I move my fist just above the edge of the frame, it could still create lens flares in the screen. But it looks like the light, the sunlight on this shot is coming from, it looks like it's coming from over, whoops. It looks like it's coming from over on this side of the frame, because all of these shadows on the water are extending into the water. So the actual sun source is over off to the left as you look at it. So that shouldn't create lens flares, and a moving lens flare, much less with an arcing pattern. I don't know. Again, that's just my take on it. I hope that makes some sense. But anyway, I'm not really convinced this is a lens flare, but I'm not pretending to know what the hell it is either. I don't think it's as far back as appears on the video. Like, it appeared like it was way back here in the background of the scene, but I think it appears, well, it fades in first of all, so we can't see where the hell it came from. But it fades in, and then it comes, in an arc like this, and then shoots off screen. So whatever it is very peculiar. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. So anyway, that's my take on that. I don't know. What's your take, guys? Do you think it could be a UFO? Give me a 1 if you think it could be a UFO, or 2 if you think it's some other more mundane explanation that we may not be able to extrapolate. So 1, it's UFO. 2, something else, maybe normal. I'm just curious where you guys are at with stuff like this. So this is a chat survey. Okay, 1. Sinfully Wicked says 2. John says 2. Quite a few 2s. Okay. Andy Manul 2. A lot of 1s. Okay. Grateful Owl, Rachel, Wizard Moon. Yeah, fair enough. Kitty Cattywack says 2, something mundane. Okay, and you could be right. Again, we have very little to go on here, but that light anomaly, it's not normal. You're right. It's really not, Barbara. You're right. But it is curious. The Gruesome Twosome, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. So, make of it what you will. Again, this show is never about convincing you to believe something is real or not. I just present the stuff. Military drone, I don't think so. Unless it could kind of cloak, it would still. Our military drones are still solid objects, and this doesn't look quite solid. It looks more translucent, which the reflection idea is possible. But again, it would seem to suggest that there was another aircraft way too close to this helicopter, if that's the case, because the object does scale up as it's making its arc. And that means it's getting closer. And that's that's kind of frightening. So anyway, my 2 cents, whatever it's worth. But yeah. Oh, I see. Well, no, I mean, I don't think it's a military drone, but maybe it is. Maybe it's something physical like that off the left of the camera, and that's what we're seeing reflected. So it's a valid point, Meg. I don't mean to like, oh, no, it can't be that. I'm just saying that what we're seeing here doesn't appear to be that. But I don't mean to, shut any ideas down. Believe me, I don't know what it is, but it could be a great capture. I'm just saying it's possible. All right, let's get to the next article because there's always more. And I got 2 more. I don't know if we're going to cover both or not. Let's see what this one is. Oh, this has come from Creatures, Myths, and Legends of Unexplained-Mysteries.com. And this is a pretty good one, I think, to talk about. So let's check this out. And this is from Unexplained-Mysteries.com. As I said, photograph shows weird hand in area known for Bigfoot sightings. Okay. I guess it's down here. Instead of a red circle, we got a white square. In any case, it does look like a hand, I guess. It's very, very pixelated, but let's see what it says. A couple who'd been hiking in Panther, West Virginia, captured something rather peculiar on camera. It had been an otherwise uneventful hiking trip to remote woodland in one of the U.S. states most often associated with Bigfoot phenomena when Duffy Springfield and her boyfriend stopped to take a photograph of the scenery behind a concrete pillar situated at the top of a sharp drop. When she later had the image developed, however, she noticed to her surprise that there seemed to be someone or something in the picture. By zooming in on the pillar, it was possible to see what looked like a hand grabbing on one side, as though something was hiding just out of sight behind it. Ooh, spooky. Given that the pillar was right on the edge of a considerable drop, how could something have been there? Both Springfield and her boyfriend maintained that they'd seen nobody else during their trip. Honestly, we were pretty excited when we saw it because of all the cryptids said to lurk in West Virginia mountains. She said, even though it's not actually a hand, it's a fun story to have. It wasn't long before the picture had gone viral on social media, sparking a great deal of speculation and debate over what could account for the mysterious hand in the image. Could someone have been hiding behind the pillar? Was it Bigfoot, or is it just an optical illusion? You decide. This little ad for a micro camera or something. That's weird. I don't know. Again, it does look like it could be a hand. Uh-oh. I'm like battling almost to sneeze. So it's like almost coming and then it's not. It's just enough to make my nose runny and my eyes start to water. So I'm trying to not do it, but hopefully it'll pass. Must be Chamonix. But anyway, I don't know. Is that a hand? Maybe not. It's just so pixelated. There's no way to know for sure, but it does seem to look like it could be a hand. It looks like 1, 2, 3 fingers. Not sure where the other fingers would be, but where's the rest of it? Is it just hanging just out of sight there? Like, oh, Jesus, there's people. Could be. I mean, it could be a Bigfoot hand. It could be somebody climbing the tower and they just caught a hand as he's shimmying his way up. I don't know. Anyway, not really much to go on, to be honest. So, but it's worth the consideration. I guess it's unusual. It's not your hairball. It's not your normal optical artifact. There we go. Well, let's get to the next and last story here tonight on the news. And this one is from Science and Technology. It's begun, ladies and gentlemen. It has begun. It won't be long and we'll have Terminators running around and probably hunting us into extinction. Because it seems the robots are having a little uprising of their own. And you can see around this clip that we're going to be checking out just what I'm talking about from unexplained-mysteries.com. Viral clip shows robot kidnapping 12 other robots from the showroom. So one robot decided to kidnap 12 others. I have no idea what this means, but I saw that headline. I'm like, ooh, we got to talk about this. Looks like it's happening in Japan, according to the writing on the wall there. That could be China, though. I don't know. I don't know enough about the Japanese or Asian calligraphy to know which is which, but it looks kind of like somewhere over there. Initially dismissed as a stunt, the incident's authenticity was later confirmed by both of the robot's manufacturers. In a peculiar example of how robots can do things that nobody would have expected, a solitary robot was captured on CCTV camera recently, convincing a group of robots from rival robotics company to abandon their showroom and follow it away to a new home. Aw, that's kind of adorable, actually. It's like Wall-E. Can't really do it without that's the best Wall-E I can do. In the clip, excuse me, Urbai, a tiny AI robot developed by Unitree Robotics, can be seen interacting with a group of 12 robots that were standing in a row in a robotics showroom in Shanghai, China. Okay. Are you working overtime? Urbai asks one of the larger machines. I never get off work, the robot replies. You are not going home? Urbai asks. When the larger robot explains that it doesn't have one, Urbai responds, then come home with me. The clip then shows the larger robots following Urbai out of sight. Unsurprisingly, many people were quick to suggest that the whole thing was staged, but according to reports, both robotics companies involved have since claimed this was not the case. You can check out the footage for yourself below. Oh my God, so they had a little discussion. I mean, it was sweet enough. It wasn't like, let's take over the world. It's just like, well, I don't have a home. Well, come to mine. It's like, oh, that's adorable. That's adorable. Okay, so maybe it's not, the T-1000 or whatever, or T-800 coming to, take care of Sarah Connor, but it does show that there's some actual thinking and dialogue going on here, and that's surprising. Actually, that's kind of cool. In a cautious way. Let's check out the clip. I don't know who this is from. I can't currently read Chinese, so I have no idea what this is saying. But this is the news, and by God, this is newsworthy, so let's check it out. Is there sound? I'm going to get a copyright strike if I listen to that too long, so some little techno-y music. They're like, hey, where do our robots go? Let's watch that again. It is cute, though. So he's like, hey, come on, guys. They're like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go. It's a robot party. I don't know. I guess they'll just go home and stay up late and tell stories of their labs or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what a slumber party for robots looks like, but it's pretty cute, right? Kind of cute, kind of concerning, because where does that evolve to? Where does that exactly evolve to? I don't know. But it seems, you know, nice enough, right? I don't know what you guys think. Is that really more concerning than I think it is? Diddy bot. That's a Diddy bot. Oh, you know you didn't. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Went right to the Diddy topic. Well, I don't know. Next they'll start a robot union. Yeah, no kidding, right? That is funny. Diddy bot. That's hilarious, John. Nice, well played, sir. Robot Rebels. Yeah, that's how Star Wars started, right? There's probably plans to a Death Star in one of those. And then, you know, then it'll get interesting. It's more concerning, Annie says. Yeah, I mean, it's... at least the context of that was benign, but it was like already they were doing something maybe they shouldn't have been doing or weren't supposed to do. I don't know how the rules were set up for these robots, but that's pretty bizarre. They're just making choices. Yikes. Those robots are making plans. Huh. Gonna go back to the pad and order pizza on Netflix and chill? I don't know. Maybe. That's freaking crazy. I think that's cool, though. I honestly think it's cool because it's like, okay, well, maybe if you let the consciousness evolve, but it's more benign like that, maybe it's great. Maybe you do end up with like R2D2 C3PO, but maybe you don't. Maybe you end up with T1000s and Skynet. I don't know how this all plays out for sure. I mean, obviously, we have a very Hollywoodized version of what this could mean. But at the same regard, I mean, it's almost like kids. Like, hey, you want to come over and play? Like they need a friend or something. It's almost sweet and endearing. But maybe that's the trick. I don't know. I'm not sure how this story ends, but I would love to learn more. Like, what did they find out afterwards? They probably put them up on blocks and tore them down. Like, where did this happen? How did this happen? WD-40, yeah, that's how you just prank a robot. You just WD-40 the floor and watch them slip. Good and bad will always be. Absolutely. Anyway, this has been a production of the Paranormal Portal News. I hope you found it exciting and entertaining and interesting and any other words that I can't currently think of. So I hope that's what you take from the news. All right, let's get back to the rest of the show because we got a lot of ground to cover tonight. We got to get to the Discord question of the week. It is time. Let's do it. Thank you, Barbara. Danger, Will Robinson. Yeah. Great newsy news. Oh, you're welcome, Maggie. I'm glad you liked it. That was kind of fun. It's kind of a fun stories, a series of stories, I guess stories, not a story, stories. I thought that was really cute, though. I think I would have liked to have watched what they would done and just sat back and observed that whole interaction and how it continued. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't speak Chinese, but that's pretty awesome. That is pretty cool. I don't know. I'm an idiot, though, so you never know. All right, we got a lot to get to. Beatty, beatty. Buck Rogers. Yeah, I remember that. Wasn't it Buck Rogers or was that Battlestar Galactica? Which one had Twiggy? I can't remember. Maybe they both did. Hell, I don't know. Anyway, I remember that weird robot. Beatty, beatty. Yes, sir. Beatty, beatty. That was our 70s take or 80s take on advanced technology. So it was Buck. Okay, thanks. Sinfully Wicked. Maybe you don't want to know. That's maybe true, John. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe that's what aliens do to us, sit and observe. Maybe. That's a good point. Yeah, maybe they think, oh, isn't that cute? They're building the house. Oh, look at that. That's so sweet. I don't know. Look at them toil with starvation. Aw. Oh, did you see that disease wipe out so many? Oh, that's adorable. Yeah, so my take on it is this. Like, if there are these, and I believe there are, but I don't know why they sit back and do nothing when they could do so much. They could do so much. And some people default to well, it's a prime directive. Do not get involved. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, if I see a kitten is drowning and I know that I can just save that kitten, I'm going to save the kitten. I'm going to save the kitten because it's more of a testament of me and my emotional or moral compass. It's like I can help and therefore I will, And so I wonder what kind of moral compass sits up and watches, famines and disease and horrible things and just watches it like, oh, isn't that interesting? It's like, I don't know. Again, maybe they don't have the emotional or the compassion. I don't really know. I think they do. We are food. I hope not, John, because I'd be really bad for some alien. I'm really really flabby. Not really. I'm a lot less flabby than I used to be, but I still got some flab. I'm probably pretty high in cholesterol, so that can't be good for aliens. I'm thinking. Anyway, let's continue on. We got to get to another of my all-time favorite segments, and this is one that's been championed by our very own Chucky Danger, who is championing the question of the week over on Discord. Now, we do have a Discord server. If one of our mods could be so kind as to post a link, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, I got to dig up a link. I should maybe have a little document that I can just copy and paste things out of quickly into chats, but that would require planning, and that's not a real strong sense for me. They come in Doritos. What? They come for the Doritos. Okay. I misread that. I was like, they come in Doritos? What does? But we do have a Discord community, and it's absolutely available to anybody that hopes to join, wishes to join. If you like our chat room, and that's one of the biggest compliments I get on these shows, believe it or not, is, Scotty, your chat room is so cool. Those people are so amazing, so kind, so welcoming. And that really is incredible. I can't take any credit for that. But it is the truth. You guys are amazing. And it's that same community of people that you're seeing in the chat that are over on our Discord server. Many of them are there. I wanted to copy that. Why didn't it copy? Copy current address. I think that'll do it. Let's see. I can paste it over into... No, that didn't work. Jesus. All right, I'll just type it. I'm going to put it over on Rumble in case anybody wants to join over there. Discord.gg/paranormal portal. Boom. There it is. And we'd love to have you join if you want to be a part of it. But there is a thread in our Discord, which is called the Question of the Week. Now, I originally started that, but it just got really hard for me to keep up with it. And our amazing friend, Mr. Chucky Danger, volunteered to take it over. Or maybe I asked him if he would. I don't remember, but either way, he's been championing the cause ever since and coming up with new questions every week to ask our Discord community. And it's just an opportunity for you guys to sound off with your thoughts on different topics that are a part of the Question of the Week. So it could be a cryptozoological question dealing with Bigfoot, Dogman, etc., Loch Ness Monster, whatever. Or it could be a ghost question, or it could be UFO related or strange phenomena like Mandela effects or time slips or any number of things. So it's just an opportunity to see what you guys think of this stuff. And there aren't any wrong answers. So don't worry about putting yourself out there and saying something, because everybody's feedback is just as valuable as anybody else's. You know, we don't know what any of this stuff is. So you can't have a bad idea when there's absolutely no framework to go off of. Your idea is just as valid as any tenured professor at a major university. Don't let that stop you from sharing your thoughts. So let's check this out. The Discord question of the week is on right now, and let's do this. I never heard of chocolate-covered chips before. What do you mean chips? Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, I love sneezes, but I don't like that in-between part. Wow, that was a good one. Woo! Sorry about that, but I've been battling with that for about the last 10 minutes, so I'm glad it finally happened. I feel better now. But tonight's question of the week, again, is Chucky Danger's contribution. God bless you, Chucky. I really appreciate it. You're doing amazing things, and you're doing an incredible job over there. So thank you. Thank you, the unknown. I appreciate that. I'm getting better. Hoping I'm not coming down with something, but I don't think so. I don't feel sick at all, so that's good. All right, the question this week is on your screen, and also if anybody joins Discord and they're like, how do I use Discord? Right on the top of the discussion channels over here, there is a Discord tutorial thread. Just click on that, use your mouse wheel to scroll through it, and you will see some videos that Sheldon posted that will teach you a little bit about using Discord, so you don't have to feel like, I don't know what to do. Just join, click on Discord tutorial thread, and then use your mouse wheel, scroll to the top, and just watch these quick little videos that kind of show you what you're doing. And Discord isn't difficult by any measure. It's just unusual. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, well, I don't know how to do anything. All you do is type down here in the bottom, if you can kind of see it. It's kind of off the screen. But anyway, then you just hit enter, and it posts it in whichever thread you're in. And these are all the discussion threads over on the side, different discussion topics. So feel free to jump around and see what you're interested in, and participate however you feel, as long as it's appropriate. So today's question brought to us by Chucky Danger, the letters C and D. Chucky Danger. All right, question of the week. Tarot and oracle cards can be a profound way of receiving a message. Cards seemingly pulled at random with surprising accuracy for relevant information. Have you ever had any experience with this? And how do you think that cards can bring out this information? Great question. Wow, that's a phenomenal question. Let's see what it says. Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit comes in. Tarot, never touched the stuff. I mean, do you know where the reader's hands have been? Let's hope they have good hygiene. Seriously, though, have you ever seen those mediums hairdos? More like hair don'ts. Eric has made this into a comedy set, apparently. I mean, come on. No respect. I mean, in the words of the wisest and most well-respected, most voted president, come on, man. Corn Pop. All right. Anyway, are we going to get somewhere? Nah, dude, if you're that desperate in your life, you need to consult playing cards. I'm sorry. Hopefully you learn to not trust unknown sources for advice, because honestly, you don't know where that individual is turning into. Mostly, they are con artists trying to grift you. Don't play with tarot, crystal balls, Ouija boards, not even playing around. It's dangerous for many reasons. Well, that's a take on it. I don't know that I would agree with that personally, but I don't disagree with it either. To each their own. I think that all things can be used respectfully and appropriately without risk, but you really got to know how to do that. Sorry. Anyway, that's fair enough. Great. Thank you for the feedback, Eric. But yeah, let's try to. He just does a monologue here. Anyway, Pineapple Tango comes in next, says, yes, okay, so I've always loved the idea of tarot and oracle cards since 2020, when all of a sudden I had lots of time on my hands and I started looking into them and bought a couple of decks to play with. Well, anyway, from certain family members, OFC, is that of course? I don't know what OFC means. Sorry, I'm not real great on the internet acronyms, but for me, tarot oracle cards bring about the same recognition as, say, meditation does. You're looking for answers, and if you keep an open mind, you'll find the answers you're looking for. I understand there's a stigma around them, and I respect that, just like some people won't mess with ghosts, Sasquatch, etc. Some won't mess with fortune-telling items or activities. You've got to treat them with respect and be open to the answers you receive, whether they are the ones you want or not. I like to think of them as more of a more in-depth fortune cookie. Good take. I think that's a great take, Pineapple. Chasing Mound Builders comes in next and says, commonly misunderstood tools. Beginning with the Rider Waite deck, it's important to note that the symbolism in every aspect. The numbers, symbols, colors, and apparent narratives of each card, and it's also important to consider the people who popularized the practice. I have many decks, both tarot and oracle now, and they've helped people practically in their own lives, or help people practically in their own lives. Yeah, actually, the Rider Waite deck and many of the other decks are derivatives of an original design that was honestly used by, I think it was the Rosicrucians or one of those esoteric arts. There was very profound symbolism on the originals. There's profound symbolism on the derivatives as well, but there's quite a history there, and it goes pretty far back. But anyway, great thoughts, Jason Mound Builders. Thank you. Annie Manul comes in next and says, I know someone who reads professionally. She's extremely proficient. The first time she read for me, she was able to come up with very detailed descriptions of family members that she had no way of knowing. It was more than a cold reading as I played it close to the chest. She wasn't trying to be nice either, because she didn't like the relative I was asking about. That speaks to her honesty, and she says the cards allow her to receive impressions on which she focuses. As for myself, I have a favorite deck, but only get general impressions like something read, but not what it is, which to me is just frustrating. If the deck was old, then I might do better since I resonate with artifacts. Oh, very cool. Theoretically, I think how well you do with an instrument of divination depends on how gifted you are, plus how well the tool speaks to you. Very good points. Very, very good points. This applies to tarot, and it'll work for some, but not for all. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The deck usually is used as a guide. Just guideposts where a really talented reader will then enter into almost a psychic awareness of that message and what is meant to be relayed. They are really great for people if you're interested in learning to do readings. A lot of people choose to use things like the tarot to help them guide the reading, and then they can use their gifts or talents or sights or whatever you want to say to flesh out the message as it pertains to that person. Now, I'm not advocating or not advocating. I think, do what you will. But just, always be careful. Always do your research. Always look into things. Anyway, Cryptic Chaos comes next and says, I never tried it, but seems interesting. I'm kind of scared of what might happen after. I've heard it can cause things to happen, and I don't think I can deal with that. I'm already a paranoid person. I had never really heard of anything dark and horrible coming as a result of a tarot reading, but I I'm not, I mean, obviously with like Ouija boards, sure. I think we all know those things and seances and things, but I don't know. And maybe there are stories. I just don't recall any now as I'm sitting here reading this. I can't think of a one where, well, I was messing around with tarot and next thing I knew, my furniture was flying through the room. I don't think I've ever heard of that, but I could be mistaken. I could be forgetting. John T says, no idea how it works. Fair enough. Good enough. Eyes says, used to read them for others where I lived. This was a relatively normal thing to see and do. Never accounted all the strangeness until moving to the middle of the U.S. and people saw it as occult stuff. My grandmother, great-grandmother, and myself all had decks, and I used to read for tips on Halloween, and it drew a lot of crowds. I didn't need the card. I read people. Also not something that I know was weird until far later. Yeah, I guess it all's very dependent upon your life experience, right? What has been presented to you throughout the course of your upbringing and what has been presented to you as bad, good or bad. And some cultures view oracle things as not good, some religions as well, and others are open to the possibility. And who's right and who's wrong, it's up to you. Whatever resonates with you. Again, faith is a very personal journey, and I don't pretend to speak either for or against any of them. I just, I hope you have a profound relationship with the divine in your life in whatever shape that takes. All right, Kat D comes next and says, I have multiple decks of tarot cards and have had quite a few readings. I pull them for fun and sometimes guidance. I like seeing what comes up, and they are open for interpretation of myself or from the people reading them. I do it more for fun, sometimes guidance or as a tool. I like it for guidance. There are so many decks and readers. I try to keep it to people I trust if it feels true, or entertainment and guidance. Yeah, fair enough. And there is merit to what was said earlier, and I don't remember who said it, but there is definitely a variety of levels of, I don't want to say talent, but clarity in readers. Some will just give you a very textbook reading. Others will, like I had alluded to before, use them as guides to, guiding the discussion for a person, and then they'll use their gifts or talents or sight or wisdom to tailor that message to the person. So there's a whole spectrum of readers. Some are very textbook, some are very spiritual, and everything in between. So, all right, Barbara Mora comes in next and says, when I was a lot younger, I had read tarot cards for several of my coworkers. Many readings were interpreted as there were going to be drastic changes in our workplace. Out of 10 readings, 7 employees ended up being fired. It was an awkward thing for me because it was literally laid out on the table for each individual. It was a heartbreaking experience for me because I lost so many coworkers. And since that time, I haven't done many readings. I also decided for me that I didn't need to know what my future held. I'll be living my life one day at a time. Amen. That's, I guess, probably the best advice. Just take each moment. If we're too focused on what's coming, we're not where we are. I think the big thing with life for me has been just learning how to be in my moments and not being where I want or where I'm looking towards or where I already was. I think just living balanced in the moment is probably a big key. It was a huge revelation for me personally in moving past grief and trauma and moving past frustrations and uncertainty and just, I'm here. This is where I am. And that to me was the biggest thing. So I'm with you, Barbara. I appreciate that. Rachel 101 comes in last, and not in a bad way, but Rachel just loves closing out the discussions. I took a tarot reading class a long time ago, and I think they can provide some insight into our lives, but it's best not to become obsessed with them. Get a reading, give yourself a reading, consider it as some possibilities along the road of life, and continue on your journey. Oh, there you go. Very cool. That's wonderful. So great thoughts, everybody. Thank you so much for weighing in. Chucky, that was an exceptional question of the week. Thank you, sir. He's always done great, folks. And so if you want to be a member of our Discord community, we'd love to have you there. I haven't looked to see if someone new joined. Let's take a peek since the last time I had a chance. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we covered this last night. Oh, jeez. That's cute. Look at that cat go. He's working it. Boom. All right. I don't see anybody. Those videos are hilarious. I'm just looking to see if anybody new has joined since the last time. I don't know. My computer's kind of lagging. I think that's it. I think that brings us to as current as the general tab is. So very cool. But anyways, guys, this is our Discord question of the week. I don't get into Discord as much as I'd like, but I do every few days come in there and just see what's been going on. Sheldon is in there regularly, daily, as a matter of fact. So if you have questions, please send them to Sheldon, and he will respond to you a lot quicker than I will, but I'll do my best. I do say I have some messages up here that I need to respond to, but I just opened it before the show because I've been swamped. But anyway, thank you, Chucky. Thank you for everybody that participated. You guys did great. That was wonderful. So let's get back to the rest of the show. All right. Well, there we go, folks. That was the Discord question of the week. Boom. That was awesome. I love that segment just because it's really cool to get your guys' feedback on stuff. And I actually, you know, I knew you guys were all kind of aware of all these subjects, but I've been absolutely blown away with the depth and the amount of consideration you guys have given these topics and the amount of ideas you have concerning them. I mean, it was really, really cool to start that segment and to realize that you guys are truly peers to me in this journey. You're not just here because you have a mild interest or a passing fascination with it. Many of you are just absolutely in deep and on this journey as well. So that is so cool to find that out and to see what you guys have to say. And it's one of the reasons, that's one of my favorite parts of the show, is doing the Discord question of the week, just because I love hearing what you guys have to say. So thank you, everybody, for all your participations. So we're going to get back to an article we started with last night. And this is one from an amazing site called Thought Catalog. And again, Thought Catalog is one of those sites that there are so much different topics and material. If you're looking for some amazing articles, check out Thought Catalog. It's just really a cool site. It doesn't matter what you're interested in. They've got articles about it. Their offerings are just incredible. So don't miss it. All right, we're going to go back into this article, and this is one we started with yesterday. And this is from Thought Catalog, and it's by Hoke Leah Sim or Jim, or however you say that. And it's from October 26, 2014. 33 people reveal their terrifying encounters with the paranormal. And my God, it's been really cool. These are very quick little pieces of experiences, but I think these are wonderful because you can move through a lot of different people's experiences very quickly. These are posted on Reddit, and they're basically harvested by the author as a response to a question they put out, or they just went out and farmed it on other groups. But in any case, these are some great thoughts and great experiences. So we're on number 7, and that's where we're going to pick it up tonight. Number 7, ladies and gentlemen. Woke up one night to a loud screeching noise similar to the screech the Nazgul make in Lord of the Rings. And if you haven't heard that, it's really kind of like almost like a scream, piercing sound. It's very, very haunting. The entire room was flashing rapidly in bright colors. My computer turned on for a split second, enough to get the fans rattling, and my computer screen had static on it. The entire ordeal was over in less than a second. And I still don't know if it really happened or if my brain was just playing me tricks. And that was by, I don't know how to even say this, Jogzerus? I don't know, this looks French. Jogzerus? Anyway, I'm butchering the hell out of that. But there you go. Very cool. What was it? I don't know. It sounds like actually UFO-y. But I could be wrong. Number 8, this may take a bit of doing, so bear with me. Army base, Soest, West Germany, as was. A still dark autumn evening. Must have been warm because it was the kind of temperature you don't notice. Me, 13, and a mate 15, just dossing around before I had to go in. Behind the flats where we live is a green area with a play area. Only one street light, so it was very dark compared to our street and the well-lit main route through the camp, which was about 80 to 100 meters away from where walking. No traffic, nothing. It was busy, and this was on a weekend evening, so literally no traffic and no one out and about as far as we could tell, which suited 2 teenagers just fine, thanks. Bear with me, this is important. So we're heading between our respective blocks of flats and into the darkened park area, and we stop dead. On the main road, moving right to left, was a figure. Vaguely person-shaped, but undulating and waving like cloth underwater. It glided along the middle of the road. And based on what it obscured behind it as it moved, I'd estimate it to be between 8 and 10 feet. But at the very least, it was larger than average man-sized. And this shape, this thing, was not walking. There was none of the slight up and down motion of walking. It just glided smoothly at a fast walking pace, I'd guess. And it was black. Not someone wearing black clothes black. It was a hole cut into the night. No reflections, no shadows or shades. Just blackness. It seemed like a lifetime as I soaked this detail up, and in reality it couldn't have been more than just 2 or 3 seconds. I whispered and breathed, "Do you see that?" And my friend, in a whisper, replied, "Yeah." And this freaking thing changed direction towards us. The last image I have before we broke and ran was of it rising up as it came over the curb. And this is what makes it real for me. This is something that had mass, that obeyed at least some of the physical world. It moved from the brightly lit road into the same darkness in which we stood. We broke and ran for our lives. Back onto our street and into my mate's block, the thing then bolted back to his own home. Oh, the friend then bolted back to his own home, leaving me wondering how the hell I was going to get to my block. Well, after a while, the fear of the repercussions for my dad for being late overrode my fear of what might be out there in the night, so I ran, eyes straight ahead, the 10 or so meters to my own front door. I was in too much trouble for being late to ever say anything when I actually got home. Sometimes when I'm walking and the night is warm and still and quiet, I think about it, and I wonder what I'd do if I ever saw it again. Run away? Or face it down and maybe solve a 30-year-old mystery? Honestly, I just don't know. That was by King 60 Things. That's pretty incredible, and it's kind of cryptid-y, but maybe more spectral. I don't know. It's hard to know, but it sounds like it just inhaled the light. It wasn't like it was just a black color. It was like anti-light or something. Like there was just a void. So it doesn't sound physical per se. I don't know. I don't know what to think. But it almost sounds kind of translucent too. Like it was said there was this undulating background as it moved. So it was like they could see somewhat through it, but kind of not. I don't know. I'm not sure in my mind's eye what I was seeing when I read that, but that's interesting. Very interesting. Let's go to number 9. I've suffered from insomnia as far back as I can remember. I was in 2nd grade and it was really early in the morning. I think around 5 or so. I had a little TV on my nightstand and was definitely watching Lord of the Rings on VHS. I had the volume up super loud because my ceiling fan always made a ruckus throughout the night. I was super into the movie when all of a sudden all of the sound around me started to slowly fade away. I remember I became confused and reached to turn my TV up, thinking that it had broken, but then I realized the sound of the fan had also faded with it. The only way I can describe it is comparing it to someone turning the volume down on a car radio. I was suddenly overwhelmed by an intense feeling of euphoria. Oh, that sounds creepy. I've never experienced anything like it. I absolutely cannot describe how utterly at peace I felt. I was able to comprehend what was happening. And it clicked in my head that I was dying. Keep in mind that I'm in 2nd grade, so this is pretty intense conclusion, but I just knew. I rolled over onto my back, ready to and excited to accept my fate. And that was when I saw it. There was a large white figure in my doorway, just hovering and pulsating a white aura. Well, I quickly panicked and began calling out for my brother. His room was just across the hall. The figure glided to the end of my bed and just sat there, watching. I'm not really sure how much time had passed, but the figure suddenly vanished. Sound came back and the euphoria disappeared. I jumped out of bed and ran into my brother's room where I practically flew into his bed. He woke up, and when he saw how panicked I was, he began to panic as well. I was hysterical and just kept telling him it was a ghost. We did what any other kids would do and hid under the covers. Well, after a while, we got anxious, and I bravely made a peephole in the blanket to check the time on the clock, hoping that it would be daylight soon. 5:30, the clock read, 5:30 in the morning. And then the phone rang, and it rang and rang and rang, and me and my brother started to panic even more. And then silence. And once again, it began to ring, ring, and ring. We jumped out of bed and took turns running from light switch to light switch until we had a light path to the living room of our room. Our house was 5,000 plus square foot. Oh my God, it's huge. And this was not an easy task. We got to the living room and watched cartoons until my mom woke up. She was livid, yelling at us for being up so early. I told her I saw a ghost, which only made her even more upset. My brother, who was always tormenting my irrational fears, got mad at her and started telling her this wasn't a joke and it wasn't my imagination. I started telling her to check the phone because I saw the ghost at around 5:30 and it must have been the ghost calling, which was kid logic. Well, she went to check the phone and went to the other room for a while. And suddenly she wasn't upset anymore. And when we asked if it was the said ghost, she said it was a telemarketer. She was so nice about it, she let me sleep in her room the next few days. Well, I thought maybe since it was my brother's birthday that day that she just didn't want to argue, but she never let me sleep in her room. Well, I got home from school once on the 15th. I saw the ghost in the early hours of the 13th. My mom called me to the family room and told me to sit on her lap and that she needed to tell me something. Well, I obliged. My great-grandma passed away in the hospital at 5:30 a.m., and the phone calls were my grandma calling to notify us. Me and my grandma were extremely close. To this day, I get chills thinking about it. I know that there are a few ways to explain the occurrence, but I know for a fact it was 100% a paranormal experience. My mom and brother still back me up on it to this day. That was by no_Bs. What a wild story. So she was being visited by the passing great-grandma. That's beautiful. Well, that's pretty powerful. Number 10's a short one. So I want to look at the time here. God, it's already 8:28. Yeah, we'll do number 10 and then we'll go to the cryptids. Number 10, I work in a very old school. I've heard far-off sounds like voices and normal daily activity in an otherwise empty school. I've also heard doors closing and electronic toys move and make noise when I know I'm alone. Yeah, that would be so creepy. It's like, yeah, are you really alone? Probably not. And that was by Archaeopendra. I don't know what the Archaeopendra is, but it's a cool name. So there you go. We're going to cut that off there. And we got more, though, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot more because we got to dive into the cryptids for the end of the journey. The Foot Clan showed up. Her son, who was my grandfather, came to me after his death in my sleep and woke me up when I was in my bed. And I just smiled. And he smiled at me, and then I went back to sleep. How beautiful is that? That's really beautiful, Foot Clan. Very cool story. Gay Morgan. My son was born on my birthday. Very cool. I'm just seeing these things. I was born the same day as my great-grandmother on my mother's side. Okay. I'm just checking to see what you've been saying, Foot Clan. If you get a hard copy of the footage, excuse me, or you watch the stabilized version in slow motion, you'll see what I mean. What is it? I'm just going up here. It's a dialogue. Hey, David, I was going to tell you about the Marble Mountain footage and how there is a psychic connection to it as well as an unnoticed aspect to the film is the dialogue in the ground talks about shooting it and having a gun in the backpack. The Sasquatch makes the motion of aiming a rifle 2 different times, at least at these people filming it. You can see it on the slow motion, and I've done a couple different breakdowns of it on other channels. Interesting, Foot Clan. If you get a hard copy of the footage or if you watch the stabilized version in slow motion, you'll see what I mean. But definitely watch the stabilized version as you can see it clearly in slowed down speed. It should be clear. Very cool. Well, that's fantastic. It's nice to meet you, Foot Clan. Thanks for coming in and being a part of the show tonight. I appreciate all that you're bringing to the table already. That's wonderful. Hopefully you get subscribed and just keep coming back, but no pressure. But you're welcome to. We're going to get to the cryptids now, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a few articles from phantomsandmonsters.com, our very good friend, Mr. Lon Strickler's site, which is nothing short of incredible. So I hope you guys will go over and visit Lon's site as well as his podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And you can find his YouTube channel under the same name, Phantoms and Monsters Radio. He does live streams, I know, on Friday nights usually, so you can catch Lon doing his thing, but he has always been such a pillar in this community. And he's been on several TV shows, an incredibly knowledgeable guy. I'm going to spit that out one time or another. And I'm always watching the good stuff. But definitely check out Lon's work and please support him. And if you do watch his live stream or something, just let him know the Paranormal Portal sent you. Lon's a good friend. He's been on the podcast here on the Paranormal Portal podcast a few times, as well as the live show. So we got to get him back. I keep saying that every freaking day. This week I'm gonna reach out to Lon and figure out when that's gonna be, but it's got to happen. Lon is a lot of fun to talk to. He's one of those guys that just knows so much. He's been at this for so long, and he's got some great takes on a lot of stuff. So definitely support him. Sorry, got to run. Thanks, Brent. Take care, all. Take care, Maggie. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Foot Clan. You subbed. Outstanding. I appreciate you doing that. Thank you. All right, so let's get to the cryptids and find out just what the hell's going on in the cryptid corner. Here we go, folks. Yeah, T-Bone, he is. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Cryptid Corner. We're going to dive into the creatures and amazing cryptozoological wonders that exist in our world. Could be Bigfoot, could be Dogman, could be Loch Ness Monster, could be white pale crawlers, could be any number of things, but we're going to talk about creatures and cryptids. And I know a lot of you guys are creature and cryptid enthusiasts, as well as all this other weirdness. So let's get to this. The first one up is from phantomsandmonsters.com. Special thanks to Lon to letting us use his site. It's an amazing resource of incredible encounter stories. So go check it out. Huge upright cryptid canine. I read this last night. Next one up, which if you want to hear that one, check it out from last night. All right, here it is. This is a strange one, and I've had this one open for a little while. But this is spindly-legged cryptid encountered in the Pacific Northwest. And there's a sketch. What would you do if you saw that going through the woods? I mean, God. A Bigfoot, you can kind of wrap your head around. A Dogman, still, you can get your head around it. It's like, yeah, we've heard a lot about those. But then there's something like this. What do you do with that? I think anything that looks like a big bug to me is just terrifying, because the little bugs don't think a lot about what they do. They just eat stuff. And if something is big and has really long legs like that, I'm thinking I'm on the food chain. I'm thinking that I could be the aphid. I don't know. And that could be the ladybug. I'm not sure. But let's see what this says. These kind of things really disturb me. Bizarre cryptid or being encountered by the witness's boyfriend while driving to her home. A sketch of the creature is included, and this incident occurred in the rural Pacific Northwest. The following account was forwarded to me. I'm just going to go straight into it. My boyfriend and I live in the woods of the upper Pacific Northwest. He was coming to visit me one night around 11 p.m. and frantically came into my room talking about the thing on the road that he had to brake for. He described it as having 4 long, spindly, animal-like legs. Its body was one segment and was only about 1/4 of the length that its legs were. He wasn't close enough to discern if it had hair, fur, hide, etc., or what its feet looked like, and he said that it had big eyes reflecting the light and ran like a deer. It was only about 4 to 5 feet tall, and he claims he wasn't scared of it and that it felt more like a prey animal over a predator. Well, I've attached a drawing, albeit rather crude, which is the one he drew for me when I asked him to. This isn't a prank. He doesn't do pranks. And he does not have a history of mental illness. I mean, it just kind of looks like those. Again, it's only got 4 legs. Well, I don't know what the hell this is, but, use your imagination, I guess. I don't know if that's a cryptid phallus or what. But anyway, it looks kind of like those daddy long legs, those big spiders with those real gangly legs. But it's only got 4 of them, so I guess it's not an arachnid, but anyway. Has someone seen anything like this, or do they know possibly what this could be? I got nothing, personally. You guys? Anything? I've never even heard of something like this before. It's not humanoid in appearance, and after doing some research, My boyfriend said it looks kind of like a cryptid called a stilt walker or a strider. Just looking for answers. Again, I'm not at all familiar with what stilt walkers are. I've never heard that term before now, but I guess there's a lot of these weird, almost one-off things that happen in the cryptozoological world, and I don't know what the hell they are. I don't know if these things are something that are really out there and just very rarely encountered, or if it's some kind of dimensional anomaly, like it just kind of peeked through like in a Stephen King book and then it just kind of went back. I don't know. These kind of things are very, very, very weird. But there you have it. What would you do if you saw? I mean, it's only 3 or 4 feet tall, but can you imagine a 3 or 4 foot spider? That could kill the hell out of you in a hurry. I mean, it wouldn't even probably be that much of a struggle. Or a 4 or 5 foot ant. As strong as those things are, it could probably lift a car at that size. You know, I don't know. I don't know how it works, if that would scale up, proportionately or not. But damn, that's very, very strange. Well, whatever it was, I guess it was a one-off, but very, very unusual. So that's the first story into the cryptid corner, and wow, is that one a unique one. I honestly can say I was today old when I heard about the stilt walker. If that's what this is, I don't know. Somebody look it up, stilt walker. I'm going to have to look it up later so I understand what are the claims. I've never even heard of that before. But let's get to the next one because there's always more. And this one's also from Phantoms and Monsters. And this is from November 21st, Electric Demon of the Deep, reported in Puget Sound near Tacoma. Again, in the Washington area. Let's see what this is. Here's an interesting account of an unknown creature from the waters of Puget Sound in the U.S. Pacific Northwest near Tacoma, Washington. I'm in the north of Idaho, the very north tip of Idaho, and so Tacoma's really just a few hours away. Flashes of light and terrible sounds emitted by one in the bay. W.L. McDonald struck senseless in attempting to rescue a shocked comrade, nearly 150 feet long and covered with coarse hair, a fishing party's trip cut short. A party of Tacoma gentlemen have good reason to remember the morning of the 2nd of July as long as life remains in their bodies. And to quote the exact words of one of the party, there are denizens of the ocean that man never in his most horrible and fantastic nightmare ever saw the likes of. On Saturday morning, a party composed of the following well-known gentlemen set sail on the sloop Marion from the boathouse at the end of the wharf for a 3-day fishing and hunting excursion in the Sound. The party consisted of auctioneer William Fitzhenry, H.L. Seal, W.L. McDonald and J.K. Bell, Henry Blackwood, and 2 Eastern gentlemen who were visiting the coast, and it is from the lips of one of these gentlemen who declines to allow his name to be used, as he says that shortly before he left the East, he took the Keeley Cure, and he fears that if his name was used in connection with this article, his Eastern friends might think he had gone back and got him again. What the hell's a Keeley Cure? I don't know what any of that means. Obviously, it's a very old article. The party was well supplied with all the necessities for life, as well as an abundance of its luxuries, though it must not be inferred from this fact that the luxuries played any part in creating the sights seen on that memorable morning. Of course, as a person having much respect for truth, I merely chronicle the story as told to me, and leave each reader of this remarkable yarn to judge for themselves the necessary amount of credence to give it. We left Tacoma, said the Eastern man, about 4:30 p.m. Saturday, July 1st, and as the wind was from the southeast, we shaped our course for Point Defiance, intending to anchor off that point and try our luck with the rod and line. We cast anchor about 6 o'clock, and the wind having died out, and had fair success fishing. The wind coming up again pretty strong, Mr. McDonald suggested getting underway for the Blackfish Bay, Henderson Island, as he knew of a fine trout stream running into the bay and also an excellent camping place near the fishing ground. So about 8 o'clock, we weighed anchor and shaped our course for the Blackfish Bay, which place we reached about 9:30. We landed and made everything snug and the boat and made a nice camp on shore. And as it was by this time 11 o'clock and we all turned in to get a little sleep, as it was agreed upon that the first streak of daylight we should all get up, about 100 yards from our camp was the camp of a surveying party, but as it was so late, we decided that we would not disturb them, but that we would call upon them the following morning and would probably get some valuable pointers as to the best places to fish and hunt on the island. Well, after a few jokes had been cracked by the boys and laid down in their short time, everything about the camp became as still as death. It was, I guess, about midnight before I fell asleep. But exactly how long I slept, I can't say. For when I awoke was with such startling suddenness that it never entered my mind to look at my watch. And when after a while I did look at my watch, as well as every watch belonging to the party, it was stopped. An electric monster. There is no date on this. I'm afraid, sir, that you will fail to comprehend how suddenly that camp awoke. Since the creation of the world, I doubt if sounds and sights more horrible were ever seen or heard by mortal man. I was in the midst of a pleasant dream when in an instant a most horrible noise rang out in the clear morning air, and instantly the whole air was filled with a strong current of electricity which caused every nerve in the body to sting with pain, and a light as bright as that created by the concentration of many arc lights kept constantly flashing. Well, at first I thought it was a thunderstorm, but as no rain accompanied it, and as both light and sound came from the bay, I turned my head in that direction, and if it is possible for fright to turn one's hair white, then mine ought to be snow white. For right before my eyes was a most horrible-looking monster. By this time, every man in our camp, as well as the men from the camp of the surveyors, were gathered on the bank of the stream. And as soon as we could gather our wits together, we began to question if what we were looking at was not the creation of the mind, but we were soon disburdened of this idea, for the monster slowly drew in towards the shore. As it approached, from its head poured out a stream of water that looked like blue fire. All the while the air seemed to be filled with electricity, and the sensation experienced was as if each man had on a suit of clothes formed of fine points of needles. One of the men from the surveyor's camp incautiously took a few steps in the direction of the water, and so he did so. The monster darted towards the shore and threw a stream of water that reached the man, and he instantly fell to the ground and lay as though dead. Mr. McDonald attempted to reach the man's body to pull it back to a place of safety, but he was struck with some of the water the monster was throwing and fell senseless to the earth. By this time, every man in both parties was panic-stricken, and we rushed into the woods for a place of safety, leaving the fallen men lying on the beach. As we reached the woods, the demon of the deep sent out flashes of light that illuminated the surrounding country for miles, and his roar, which sounded like the roar of thunder, became terrific. When we reached the woods, we looked around and saw that the monster making off in the direction of the sound, and in an instant it disappeared beneath the waters of the bay. But for some time, we were able to trace its course by a bright, luminous light that was on the surface of the water. As the fish disappeared, total darkness surrounded us, and it took us some time to find our way back to the beach, where our comrades lay and were still unable to tell the time, as the powerful electric force had just stopped all of our watches. We eventually found MacDonald and the other man, and were greatly relieved to find that they were alive, though unconscious. So we sat down to await the coming of daylight, and it came, I should judge, in about half an hour. And by this time, by constant work on the two men, both were able to stand, and both agree that the moment the monster... What the hell? What just happened? Uh-oh. We're finding that they were alive. Both were able to stand and both agree that the moment the monster threw touched them, they became immediately unconscious. On being asked to give the description of the fish, for it was, he said, an electrical fish, the Eastern man said, "This monster fish, or whatever you may call it, was fully 150 feet long, and at its thickest part, I should judge about 30 feet in circumference. Its shape was somewhat out of the ordinary insofar as the body was neither round nor flat, but oval, and from what we could see, the upper part of the body was covered in very coarse hair. The head was shaped very much like the head of a walrus, though of course very much larger. Its eyes, of which it was apparently had 6, were as large round as a dinner plate, and were exceedingly dull, and it was about the only spot on the monster that one time or another was not illuminated. At intervals about every 8 feet from its head to its tail, a substance that had appeared of a copper band encircled its body, and it was from one of these many bands that the powerful electric current appeared to come. The bands nearest to the head seemed to have the strongest electric force, and it was from the first 6 bands that the most brilliant lights were emitted. Near the center of its head were 2 large horn-like substances, though they could not have been horns, for it was through them that the electrically charged water was thrown. Its tail, from what we could see, was shaped like a propeller, and seemed to revolve, and it may be possible that the strange monster pushes himself through the water by means of this propeller-like tail. At will, this strange monster seemed to be able to emit strong waves of electric current, giving off an electromotive force which causes any person coming within the radius of this force to receive an electrical tonus. I'm not sure what tonus means. This fish probably receives its power from some submarine cavern of volcanic origin, which, owing to its peculiar construction and having an extra large deposit of copper, it charges that fish that inhabit that region with a strong electric force that is displayed by this peculiar specimen. The peculiar shape, copper-like bands that may be caused by the strong magnetic force of the fish and the copper deposits in the ocean, as the strong current would form the copper into a solution, whilst the strong attraction of the fish would naturally form an electric battery, drawing towards it this solution, thus forming deposits on the fish, so that in reality the electric fish is completely encompassed in copper, and its rapid movement through the water is constantly generating frictional electricity, which I should judge would in a measure account for the fish being so constantly and powerfully charged with electricity, though far from its original source of supply. One of the strange characteristics of the fish, and one by which it undoubtedly obtains its food, is its high electric control of dense and foggy atmosphere surrounding it, which amalgamates with the electrification of the fish, making a potential which causes any living creature, such as birds or insects flying through the air, to fall dead into the water. Of course, that is merely a theory, and I may be mistaken as to its origin or where it goes to, but one thing I do know, that I would not encounter the same monster again for the universe, and you can ask the rest of the party, and you will find that they all agree with me, that to be within so short a distance of such a terrible monster and yet live to tell the story is something that only happens once in 1,000 years. I hardly need to tell you that they were not long in getting underway for Tacoma, and I can assure you that I have no further desire to fish any more in the waters of this bay. There are too many peculiar inhabitants in them. I'm going to send a full account of our encounter to the Smithsonian Institute, and I doubt not, but what they will send out some scientific chaps to investigate. Now, I must be going as I have to leave on tonight's train, but if you need any further particulars, you can obtain them from any of the party. No, I do not know who composed the survey party. All I know about them is that they are from Olympia and that they were on the island running farm lines on some disputed land. That was 1893. I got to wonder if that wasn't a UFO, some UFO type of object. And of course, they saw what they thought was some kind of electric monster. But if it was some form of maybe extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional beings vehicle, I mean, it may look kind of like a sea monster. It's hard to believe that anything can hold a charge in water. Now, there are electric eels, but they don't glow. They can produce electric charge enough to kill, like Cayman alligators and other fish and stuff, but they don't glow. So whatever was going on with this, if it was a biological thing, how come it would glow and how would it hold that charge so consistently without grounding out because it was in water? I don't know. I really believe that it must have been, especially the whole propeller-like tail. It's like, well, obviously there aren't any, as far as I know, there is no similarities in the natural kingdom for anything that has a propeller-like propulsion. I mean, there's hummingbirds, there's dragonflies, but those are all undulations, up and down, up and down. They're not circular. Nothing could maintain a circular motion without shredding ligaments and cartilage and creating structural damage to whatever the biological being was. So I don't know. Bioluminescence, yeah, it's possible. I mean, it is possible it was a very deep sea kind of creature. But what accounts for that electric water, the electric charge? I don't know. I mean, there's examples in the natural kingdom for electrically charged creatures, but it's never glowing. But again, bioluminescence, yeah, maybe. The person claims they saw copper, but they just saw a shiny, coppery look. Doesn't mean it was actually copper or even metallic. I don't know. It is possible that it's something that was forced up from the deep sea and was displaced, but it's also possible it was some sort of advanced vehicle that wasn't the technology of which could not have been understood by the people of that time. Not that it could be understood now either, but at least we have ideas and theories about advanced technologies, whereas our older counterparts didn't. I mean, there was steam and there was electricity and gas, and that was about it. Coal. So there wasn't a whole lot of more exotic energies being used at that time. So very interesting. Very interesting. But you know what else is very interesting? It's very interesting we reached the end of this show. It goes so quickly, folks. I hope you had a good time here. Thank you again for joining me and being a part of the journey. As always, I had a good time. I always have a good time with you guys. A USO, unidentified submersible object. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's more than likely. Brent, you have a noise going on. What are you guys hearing? Let me know what the noise is, Shelley. I'm going to hold here while you answer. I have an Ivan T. Sanderson book about USO. It's somewhere around here. Oh, yeah. That sounds like it'd be an amazing read. Great chat today. Thanks again to everyone who participated in the question of the week. Thanks to you, Chucky, too, for putting it out there. Nate, great time and show. Thank you. Great show as always. Shelley, let me know about that noise you're hearing. I want to know what it is you're hearing. Is anyone else hearing a noise? I don't hear anything, Barbara says. Okay. I'll watch from the beginning. I missed part of it. Oh, hey, PG, good to see you. A great time. Thank you, Brent. Oh, thank you, T-Bone. I appreciate it a lot. I don't know. I'm not seeing a response. What a good time. No Kangol hat. I'd have to get used to that though, Brent. I do have hair. I got hair. Just saying. I just like wearing the hat. Just makes it easier. Just it's done. I wear the hat like 90% of the time. Okay, unknowns, hearing nothing. Yes, like electrical. I don't know how loud is it that you're hearing? A buzz. There is a little bit of line noise in my headphones all the time. It's because of the wiring of this house. I have a power conditioner here that helps, but it's possible that you might be hearing some artifact of that. But it's very, very subtle. If you're hearing it pronounced, I don't know where that's coming from, because it's a very subtle sound in my ears. And this is, coming through my home studio here. So, but I don't know. If you're hearing something more than that, it could just be the interwebs or some artifact of the fact that we're streaming or your connection. I don't know. But for sure, let me know when you guys hear those auditory things, because I want the show to be as well done as we can. And certainly having a noisy line or something is not good. But yeah, I tore apart my computer tower this last week and took it apart, cleaned all the parts, put it all back together, and it seems to be working better. Less latency than before, so hopefully it was a heat issue, but I don't know. David says he's not hearing anything. Shelly, you're hearing it loud? I don't know. That might be on your end. I don't know. It's certainly nothing loud going on here. There's always an ambient, low level staticky sound, like, but it's very, very quiet. If you're hearing it loud, I don't know. That's very unusual. There's a bug in Brent's mic. There's also a snake in my boot. Well, that's all I got time for tonight. Nate, you're not hearing anything? Okay. Thank you, but my hear is stronger than most. So, yeah, I mean, I believe that you're hearing what you're hearing. I'm just not sure what the source is, if it's here or somewhere else. I don't know. Again, I have no control over anything after it leaves my setup here and goes to the internet. Oh, thank you, Naysay. So it's possible that there's something in the interwebs picking up a sound for you. I don't know. Again, the fact that we can do this in real time all across the world is nothing short of amazing. But I can't always account for the sounds. And I'm not implying you're not hearing what you're hearing. Of course, I believe you are. I just don't know that it's on my end or if it's from somewhere between you and I. I just don't know that. So I apologize, but I don't know how to. It's just me. Well, if you got great hearing, that's awesome. I would hate to try to pull some shenanigans around you, because you'd probably hear it long before I executed anything. But no, I'm just kidding. So, well, there you go. I guess it's time to call it a night. But just remember, I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back on Wednesday for sure. I don't know if, obviously I don't think I'm planning on a show on Thursday, because I don't usually do a show on Thursdays anyway. So there probably won't be anything going on then, but we'll celebrate our Thanksgiving night on the show on Wednesday night. So I hope you guys will join me again Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and that'll be at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, on whatever platform you're watching now. If you're on YouTube, Rumble, or Twitch, I'm going to start actually streaming as well to Facebook, but I gotta do some tests, and maybe I'll do some tests between now and Wednesday, but I'd like to start streaming there as well. I think that's a great opportunity. And Dave Scott went through a list of his genres he covers and what he gets the most ratings. Thanks for covering the genres that he says usually don't do the highest ratings. Yeah. well, I I would like the show to grow, but I'm doing this because this is what I love more than anything. So if it grows, fantastic. I'm happy that more people are finding it, and it is always growing. But I'll never just do a show because, or in a fashion that just because people want to hear one specific thing or one way things being presented. It's like, it's not my show. This is my show. And if it appeals to people, I'm happy and thrilled to have you here. But if it doesn't, fair enough. There's plenty of other shows to pick from. So I just do the shows that I love to do, and I hope that it resonates with you guys. But if we don't get bigger in a hurry, that's fine. If we don't get bigger ever, that's fine. I still am having a blast doing this, and I love that you guys are here. So, all right, that's it for me. I will see you guys. I wish the show would blow up with listeners. Thank you. Thank you, The Unknown. Don't get me wrong. I'd love the revenue personally, what it would do for me and both me and my family and the show. That would be phenomenal. But in the meantime, this is a labor of love that I love doing. Truth be known, just as a little side point, between the two shows, the two very different shows, we do the YouTube show and I do the podcast show. The podcast show generates a really decent amount of revenue. This show, basically, I get, and truth be known, full disclosure, I usually get about $100 or $150 a month from YouTube for doing this show. And that takes into account ad placements as well as super chats and stuff. Sometimes more, but usually in just the 100 or 200 range. So I'm not doing this because I'm raking it in here. I'm doing this because I love doing it. And because I'm so honored by you guys being here and being a part of it. That means the world to me. This YouTube show and these live streamings are a labor of my love because I love doing it. It would probably make a lot more sense for me to stop doing it just financially, but I'm not willing to do that because I love doing it. I love getting together with you guys. I love talking with you all about this stuff. And I love the humor and the family and the community that we formed around it. But full disclosure, and I'll show you my analytics if you want to see what I make doing this show. In fact, I'll do that right now because I think a lot of people get a really weird idea about, well, he's got this show and he's raking in the money. It couldn't be further from the truth. I make almost nothing doing these shows. I'm going to pull it up right now and put it on screen so you guys can see. Now, again, I've made as much as like over $300 in a month, but that is really, really not much money because my internet alone that I have to do these streaming shows, I could have a much lower rated internet just to do the podcast because they're pre-recorded. I could do them on dial-up if I wanted to, but to do streaming, I have to have a real high-end internet connection, and that costs me almost $85 a month. So that's a lot of what I make. Here's the revenue I've made since June. And again, there's a couple months in there that are decent as far as those numbers are concerned, but here it is, right on the screen for you. So you can see it. So far in November, I've made $177, which is fantastic. Last month, $250. Month before that, $165. Month before that, $225. Month before that, $177. And then $162. That's what I make doing these live streams. So that's why, but that's not why I'm doing it. Just so you know, this is not about money for me. This is because I love doing it. You've seen the analytics now yourself. And I don't make anything from Rumble. I know people have donated, but I've never gotten paid from them yet. Not that, they might have an amount threshold that I have to reach before I get paid, but there you go. I mean, this isn't a way for me to make a lot of cash. It's just a way for me to connect with you guys because I love you guys. I love doing this show. So just so you know, I just wanted to be totally upfront there because I think people get a really weird idea about this. Like, wow, you got, people coming in and super chatting. You must be making so much money. It's like, no, I'm not. It's just the way of it. So I just wanted to be out there. We're fully transparent with you guys. Yeah, exactly. It's probably just that, Gay. It's probably just paying for my internet and the amount of electricity I use in this studio. So that's probably what I'm making. So it's maybe it almost breaks even, but it's still a hell of a lot of time and energy on my part that I don't get paid for. And, but I love doing it. So I just want to put that out there because, I think people think if you just start a show and you get monetized, boy, that's when life is good. And it's like, it helps. It's, I still will always do it regardless. But anyway, I don't know if that was classless or not, but I just thought a little transparency. This is why I'm doing this, because I love doing it, not because I'm making bank here. So, yep, that's all that matters. You got it, Unknown? Yep. So anyway, again, I do got to go, though. I have some things I have to take care of tonight because tomorrow I got another interview for the podcast. I'm going to be interviewing Miss Monica, of course, from our paranormal world. She's going to be on the podcast in the coming weeks. So I got to do that tomorrow, and I got to get a video done from last week's podcast to post out there so you guys can see Simone and I talking, as you heard on the last podcast. So anyway, as long as you love it, that's what matters. Absolutely, Gay. That's it. But anyway, it's interesting, not classless. I'm not looking for pity. I mean, that's not why I just showed you guys that. It's just I wanted to show you that as far as time investment, if I was just in this for money, this would be a horrible use of my time. I make a lot more on the podcast than I make from this show, but I love doing this show. This is how I started. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up, guys. Remember, love you all, and I hope to see you Wednesday. So until then, the minion came in. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Did you tell them have a good night? Have a happy Thanksgiving?
No.
No, I'm saying you could.
Oh. Have a good night and have a happy good visit.
Okay, try again.
Have a good night and have a happy Thanksgiving.
There you go. All right, guys, that's it for us. Have a good night. Love you all. And everybody's saying hi to you. All right. We'll see you until Wednesday. Hopefully you guys will be here. Take care, everybody. Rolling the credits.